It's halftime at Jalisco Stadium in Guadalajara in the Group D matchup between Brazil and Spain. It's a special day for all of Canadians as soccer history will be made this afternoon, Canada's World Cup debut against France. Steve Armitage takes a close-up look at the men who make up our national side.
First and 10 from the 27.
Mention football to a Canadian, and the chances are he'll think of a game Canadians invented back at the turn of the century and now share with Americans. For years at the international level in sport, Canada has been known as a nation of hockey players. Canadian teams have been at or near the top of the hockey world since international play began. For soccer, it's been a different story, but the game's popularity is changing.
Bradley, a chance, he scores! Sweeney running onto it well. Sweeney with the shot, he scores! There's a shot, he scores! Dale Mitchell! There's the chip. Oh, great chip to hit it! He scores! Dale Mitchell!
Canada's first attempt at qualifying for the World Cup began 28 years ago. The dream of every Canadian soccer player was finally realized on a cold afternoon in St. John's, Newfoundland, when Canada defeated Honduras. The CONCACAF trophy would give Canada its first ever berth as one of the 24 nations competing for soccer's biggest prize, the World Cup. And this from a nation without a single professional league. The majority of Canada's team in Mexico have spent the winter playing in the U.S. in the major indoor soccer league. This has presented a number of problems for the Canadian manager, the former England goalkeeper, Tony Waiters.
I think the biggest problem has been the collapse of the North American Soccer League and then resulting in us not having a league for our players to play in. And I think that's caused horrendous problems in preparing a team for World Cup play. We haven't got a domestic league. We haven't got a professional outdoor league on the continent. Many of our key players are playing indoor soccer, which is a very different game from outdoor soccer, and they're still playing indoor soccer 3 weeks before the World Cup final.
The odds makers have suggested that Waiters and his Canadian side are 1,000 to 1 to win the World Cup in Mexico, and 10 to 1 against scoring a goal in their group with the Soviets, Hungary, and France.
Being realistic, looking at the group that we're in, France, Hungary, Russia, three very good soccer nations, three very good teams at the present moment. And for us to be placed fourth in that group, I think would be the opinion of most experts. We will have to do extremely well to get through to the second round. It really means we've got to knock out one of those three teams to do it. And that's going to be extremely difficult, but I don't think it's impossible.
Like most managers, Waiters is reluctant to name his starting 11 for Mexico, but because it's Canada, he doesn't have a great deal of depth.
Tino Lefieri is our most experienced goalkeeper and has done very well over the years. At right back, Bobby Donaduzzi has been a fixture in the Canadian team. Ian Bridge and Terry Moore are considered to be the regular centre-backs. Bruce Wilson, the captain at left-back, makes up our back four. And the way we play, we have four across the middle, not saying out-and-out midfield players. Paul James and Davey Norman have been playing on the right, but Carl Valentine came into the final game of our qualification games against Honduras. And certainly, I would consider to be a right-flank player. Jerry Gray and Randy Reagan would be considered by most, if not the coach, are two central midfield players, although George Pecos would probably dispute that. On the left is Mike Sweeney, but again, he's only just coming into the team following his involvement in the Major Indoor Soccer League. And up front, Dale Mitchell, who missed the third and final qualifying round through injury, is considered to be perhaps the best striker. And Igor Vrablik, the young player who's been playing in Belgium, has done extremely well over the last 2 or 3 years. But then, Branko Segota, who must not be dismissed at this stage, he's been involved with us and is probably the most talented Canadian.
As Waiters points out, the keeper's job belongs to Tino Lefieri, a veteran of Canadian soccer. He began as the backup in the '76 Olympics in Montreal. He was named an All-Star in the NASL, and is now one of the best in the indoor league. For Tino, playing in the World Cup is a dream come true.
Every player that was growing up in the game has always watched World Cup. Sure, they wanted to play in a big league, the professional league, but yet the biggest dream was to maybe be in the World Cup competition. To me, I could put all the awards together. Will never match what we're about to achieve come June.
Not unlike a lot of keepers, Lettieri is a little different. But in Mexico, providing FIFA doesn't object, he could be the only keeper with a friend in the back of the net.
He's been with me for 6 years now. You know, he's been a mascot. He's my good luck charm. Everywhere I go, I bring him. But, you know, the bottom line is go out there and play for your country. If you can sneak the bird on, all the better. If not, well, Ozzy will be on the side.
The old man of the Canadian back four, with more than 40 national appearances, is 34-year-old Bruce Wilson, the Canadian captain.
I wouldn't say we're favorites, that's for sure. I think we're going into the World Cup on some pretty good odds. We're in a very, very tough group. When you look at France, Hungary, and the Soviet Union, they're very difficult teams. We have the utmost respect for all of the teams. But still, we feel that with the performance we can put together, if it's like the past, we feel that we can get through to that first round into the second round.
Canada's problems in Mexico will begin in the midfield, where Jerry Gray will try to direct what has traditionally become Canada's downfall, the attack.
The criticism in the past has been valid, but through the years in the North American Soccer League, the coaches have begun to put players in the midfield and in the forward positions, that giving them experience to make goals, to score goals, and that's seen through Bronco Segota, Dale Mitchell, Igor Vravlich, myself, Mike Sweeney, Randy Reagan, where we can have the ability, we do have the ability to score goals, and we now take this ability and this experience into an international level, where we can compete with the best in the world and yet have a chance of scoring goals instead of just defending against goals.
There are two reasons why the job of the Canadian midfield will be made a little easier in Mexico. Charles Valentine and Dale Mitchell, both are coming off the indoor season and see one major adjustment going to the outdoor game.
The fitness level really, and trying to build up the stamina, because in indoor soccer you don't play for 90 minutes obviously, and you're on and off with 2-minute shifts. But I feel that the advantage that you have is that your ball skills are a little bit more improved, because that's basically what you've been working on, and you're in a more confined area, and you have to be that much sharper. So there's two sides to it, but the main thing that you have to work on is the stamina.
Mitchell's running mate, Carl Valentine, offers a new dimension to the Canadian attack. An orthodox winger whose crosses are deadly, but may be more effective when he uses his speed to take on defenders and attack through the middle.
I see myself, my role is playing as a striker. I think that, going into Mexico, into the World Cup, that you are going to play against quality defenders, some of the best defenders of their countries, and chances come few and far between, as we've seen in the last World Cup where Rossi for Italy, he become hot, and, they didn't have that many chances, but the chance they had, he put them in the back of the net. And I think that's a big difference going into the World Cup.
Canada's appearance in the World Cup may not replace hockey as our #1 sport, but just getting there has given soccer some much-needed exposure and will certainly help the growth of the sport in the years to come, on the one continent in the world where soccer has yet to gain a major foothold.
And Canada meets France later today at 6 o'clock Eastern. Here at halftime, it's Brazil and Spain scoreless in Guadalajara. World Cup 86 on CBC Sports continues in just a moment.
Hey, little beaver.
Some guys lucky to recognize that lemon pie doesn't taste like water. Its original recipe gives you 100% straight beer taste, nothing less.
Sure thing, Mr. Pavarotti.
You recognize me?
Do you recognize him? No, it doesn't matter. The important is to recognize that Labatt Light doesn't taste like water. Its original recipe gives you 100% great beer taste.
Nothing less.
Deep inside, gonna ride it to the sky. Gonna ride it and never let go. Got some hot, got some pride. Ain't no whisper of pride.
Petro-Canada is proud to support Canada's national team and youth soccer across Canada.
I'll stand with the best in the world.
Petro-Canada, our energy is Canada.
The World Cup kicked off in spectacular fashion yesterday with the colorful opening ceremonies at Azteca Stadium. And the competition began in dramatic fashion as Italy and Bulgaria played to a scoreless draw. Mexico City sparkled yesterday as it welcomed the world to the 1986 Mundial. The opening ceremonies at Azteca Stadium were stunning. A showpiece of modern Mexican technology, contrasted with the ancient heritage of this country. It was indeed a spectacular kickoff to this World Cup. And then the competition began with defending champion Italy against Bulgaria. It started well for the Italians. Altobelli's right foot volley gives Italy the lead in the final minutes of the first half. Bulgaria was under pressure most of the game, but with less than 5 minutes left, Sirikov heads the ball past the outstretched arms of keeper Galli. And Bulgaria celebrates a draw in the opener against Italy. And let's look at the highlights of the first half in Guadalajara at Jalisco Stadium. Brazil carried most of the play, but they make one big defensive mistake, and Francisco will capitalize. He sends the ball into the box for Butragueño. And it's a great chance for Spain. Fortunately for the Brazilians, Carlos comes off his line and makes the stop. The Brazilians were able to control the ball throughout the first half, but really very few scoring opportunities. This was their best chance, as Elzo will be found with space on the left side. He moves in and blasts a 25-yarder, but Zubi will make the diving stop for Spain, and it's scoreless after 45 minutes in Guadalajara. Labatt's TV series continues in a moment.